maybe it just leads to this question. Does it feel like now, because of the whole Gerrit Cole situation, by the way, he's at least going to be out till May, getting a second opinion. Do you guys think, and Rock, will start with you, does it just feel like the Yankees have to go and get Snell or Montgomery now with the news coming out and Dylan Cease now is off the board? It just feels like something's got to give.
It does. I mean, those guys are going to sign somewhere, and we talked about it with being Boris guys. They're going to not wait until the last possible second, but they are going to get the max. I mean, he's going to get the maximum value for his guys who he has. That's just how Scott Boras operates. Love him or hate him, that is just how he deals with business. And I know O's fans might be worrying because there's a few guys that are Boris guys, some of the top guys here. When are they going to sign extensions potentially, or what's that going to look like coming up? We truly don't know. But the thing about him, being an agent and being one of the best at what he does, he's going to get his guys the maximum value for what they're worth. And players, they love it. And that's why they go to him and sign with him, because it is a business at the end of the day. But I really do truly believe that we could see one of those two guys end up being Yankees. I don't think both of them are going to be Yankees. But with that being said, Rip, I kind of wanted, this question was marinating while we were just listening to what happened with Cease, and you brought up the Yankees and what's going on with Gerrit Cole and that injury. You said the Orioles, they're probably not going to give up any of their top prospects. And I agree. I don't think that's going to happen either, at least at this point in time. But obviously it would benefit the Orioles, but do you see them potentially going after one of these two guys as well, a Snell or a Montgomery, down the line before the season begins? Or do you think that they're all right? We have our ace. We have Corbin Burns. We hope that Kyle Bradish, he's doing mound sessions. Means is throwing side sessions. These guys are going to be hopefully back at a decent time, and that we're fine with the group that we have heading into the season.
Yeah, I'm still not buying that the Orioles want to make a deal like that for Snell and Montgomery. Apparently, the other report sources, again, we're going to use sources, is saying that Montgomery wanted a 7-year deal.
He still wants 7.
So if that is the case, then absolutely not.
I want 7 too. I mean, I want 7-year contract too. If we're just asking for it, that's not going to happen.
No,
not at this spot in the offseason.
And then for Snell, if Scott Boras can't get a long-term deal for Snell, then they're going to try to get a deal that's, if it's short, but it's got to be a lot of money. And let's just face it again, ask yourself, Oriole fans, if you could get Blake Snell for 3 years, but you got to give $130 million, like if the value's got to go up,
opt out after each year, I would assume.
Yeah. So if you want to play that game and then you give up some money that you could spend on some of these guys that you know you're going to have to, plus you already have Burns and Grayson Rodriguez. That's just me personally. I don't see it. I think they like their guys, Rock, but an interesting one. Kyle Bradish, you brought him up throwing. I'm hoping the best, and you guys all know this. I'm just not going to hold my breath that he's still we saw Felix Bautista go and throw off a mound. We've seen things happen before. We're going to have to play it by ear. And it's same thing with the Yankees. And I'll get to this question in a second. The Yankees are saying, oh, Gerrit Cole, their words were, he doesn't have UCL damage, but there is concern with the ligament.
Yeah.
So when you hear that, does any of that sound good?
Not well. Okay.
No.
There's one thing about like having concern with the ligament, and then there's everything's fine. We just have slight concerns, and he's going to be out for 1 to 2 months at least. And it's like that was where Yankee fans, it's like, wait a second, what do you mean? It almost does feel like a Kyle Bradish situation, because it's kind of where the Orioles were like, hey, we're taking this one day at a time, but the Yankees were straight up like, yeah, we're not going to lie, it's going to be 2 months, it looks like, at least. And that puts a lot of panic into Yankees fans, because that was there after you go past Gerrit Cole in the Yankees rotation.
Yeah,
it's question marks. It's guys with high upside who have shown that they can be top 1-2 guys on a rotation, but injuries and stuff have derailed their careers at times. So it's really just now the Yankees are back even in worse position than I would say they were at the beginning of the offseason with their pitching staff, because you were building a staff relying on, okay, at worst, every 5 days we have Gerrit Cole, Cy Young, runaway Cy Young winner, taking the mound. And now he's not for at least 2 months.
You know, I wonder also, this is a different part because bringing this up, what is the question? What is Elias to call Scott Boras and offer up $40 million for 1 year, take it or leave it? I just don't, that isn't a Mike Elias move, in my opinion. It's not Mike saying, let's deal out all this money. Because even though the Orioles traded for Corbin Burns, they still they're not paying him anymore on a new deal, right? This is
Right.
no money has been spent there. And I really don't think the Orioles are going to make this until after the ownership change and after you're going into really next season. So I don't see that happening. And the other follow-up with it, do the Orioles want to try to get which team has the most starting pitchers in the top 100? It's very curious because the Orioles obviously have so many hitting prospects. On the other side, the top pitching prospects they don't necessarily have, but they do have some really, really good arms. The team loves who they have, by the way.
Yeah.
They love Grayson Rodriguez. They love Dean Kramer. John Means is the one that they really love, but need Means to be healthy, right? That's a big part of baseball, is being available. But Armbruster and McDermott are two guys that you're going to keep your eyes on because they feel that depth is there. And by the way, you have other starters like Cole Irvin and Tyler Wells. So right now, it's not it's not a concern, I guess, in their eyes, but an interesting debate, no doubt, because at some point here, you're going, well, when are we going to maximize and go get some guys out there? But you're going to need depth. You need depth. And the one thing the Orioles have with their team is they have a lot of depth, which other teams cannot say at this juncture heading in now 2 weeks, guys. Actually, the first game in Korea, Dodgers and Padres, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that game's next week.
Yeah, it is.
So
Crept up fast.